Two very quick questions. Have you heard from Kemi yet?
No apology has been forthcoming, and therefore I will be giving a response on Friday.
Oh, there we go.
What I'm going to do, she won't like it. She really, really won't like it, but she could still apologise.
Okay, second question is, we heard and we saw your New Year's message earlier. Some people saying, without getting accused of being a reform mouthpiece, as we've heard from some quarters over the past week, you did look quite prime ministerial. In recent years, maybe 2016, 2017, you admitted yourself you weren't overly keen on being Prime Minister. Has that changed now, Nigel? Would you like to be Prime Minister?
Well, Ben, I was a warrior. I was a street fighter. I was, get me out there. Someone hold my jacket. I mean, that was, my whole political career was based on that. I'm now in a different place. I'm now about what is wrong with our country, what we need to do to put it right. And I've said since June the 3rd, when I came back out of semi-political retirement, that it's about family, community, and country. They're the things that matter to me. They're the things that matter to GB News viewers. That's what matters to most of our population. And if I can be the agent for change for all of those things, then you know what? I'll do my damnedest over the next few years to do that. So, yes, I'm in a very different place. I'm not now fighting the establishment to get us to leave the European Union. I'm trying to replace the establishment. Now, historically, people will say that I'm mad. But you know what? Something is happening out there.
Nigel Farage's interview on GB News, particularly his pointed remarks regarding Kemi Badenoch, exemplifies his combative and provocative political style. Farage wastes no time in criticizing Badenoch for failing to issue an apology, describing her inaction as a glaring oversight that he plans to address with a response on Friday, one that she won't like. The tone is unmistakably dismissive, designed to not only criticize but also to belittle Badenoch, framing her as an emblem of what he perceives as a weak and ineffective political establishment. Farage's framing of this issue goes beyond a simple call for accountability. It is an unmistakable power move, with Farage positioning himself as the moral arbiter and defender of public interest. By highlighting her lack of response and warning of impending consequences, Farage seeks to portray Badenoch as a symbol of the establishment's complacency and inability to take responsibility. This tactic is a hallmark of Farage's rhetoric, elevating his own political relevance while casting his opponents as obstacles to the transformative change he claims to champion. The broader context of the interview further underscores Farage's attempt to redefine his political persona. Reflecting on his past as a warrior and street fighter, he contrasts his earlier confrontational approach with his current focus on what is wrong with our country and what we need to do to put it right. This self-reinvention serves a dual purpose. It paints him as a matured statesman, while implicitly criticizing figures like Badenoch, whom he suggests are incapable of addressing the systemic issues facing the nation. His repeated emphasis on family, community, and country as his guiding principles subtly implies that Badenoch, as part of the establishment, lacks a similar focus or vision. Farage's declaration that he is no longer merely fighting the establishment, but is now actively trying to replace the establishment is a direct challenge to figures like Badenoch. This shift in rhetoric is more than just a campaign slogan. It's a calculated effort to cast himself as a revolutionary figure against a backdrop of entrenched political inertia. His claim that something is happening out there is a rallying cry to disaffected voters, positioning himself as the leader of a populist movement aimed at dismantling the old guard, with Badenoch standing as a symbol of its perceived failures.
It's interesting what you say, Nigel, about your popularity and whether people want to hug you or whether they want to take you on and have an argument with you. How has that changed for you in 2024 personally? Probably, I would say, following on maybe from being in the jungle at the end of 23.
Well, there's no question that the jungle made a huge difference, because the jungle, I was in there for 24 days. You can't hide, you can't pretend to be what you're not, and people saw me for what I am. Now, they can like it, not like it, but they can at least form an impression. So the jungle helped. I think it's political, I guess, but I think the sheer ineptitude of Keir Starmer, of now Kemi Badenoch. I mean, frankly, have you seen her New Year's message? It's embarrassing. I mean, it's so low grade, it's unbelievable. And I think, whether I'm talented or not, I perhaps look rather more able than the other two to an awful lot of people. So yeah, I think perceptions of me as a person have changed over the course of this year. And the political party that I lead, Reform, you wait, give it 2 weeks and see where we are in the opinion polls, and the establishment are going to be shocked. Massive historical change is coming to Britain. It's coming quickly, and in my opinion, it's badly needed.
Nigel Farage's comments during his GB News interview reflect a calculated attempt to frame himself as a more competent and relatable political figure, in contrast to the ineptitude he ascribes to his opponents, Keir Starmer and Kemi Badenoch. Reflecting on his experience in the jungle at the end of 2023, Farage acknowledges its transformative impact on public perceptions of him. By spending 24 days in such an unfiltered and unscripted environment, he positions himself as authentic and accessible, claiming that viewers were able to see him for what I am. This portrayal of authenticity plays into his broader narrative of being a political outsider who, unlike traditional politicians, is honest and unpolished. Whether people like him or not, Farage argues, they have at least formed a genuine impression of him, a subtle jab at his opponents, whom he suggests are hiding behind the facades of conventional political behavior. Farage's scathing critique of Badenoch's New Year's message is particularly telling. He describes it as embarrassing and so low grade. It's unbelievable, emphasizing what he perceives as her inability to inspire confidence or convey a compelling vision for the country. By highlighting her perceived shortcomings, Farage not only diminishes Badenoch's political credibility, but also elevates himself as a more capable alternative. His comments about Starmer are less specific but equally dismissive, lumping both opponents together as symbols of a failing establishment. This approach allows Farage to frame himself as the competent and charismatic alternative, claiming that he perhaps looks rather more able than the other two to an awful lot of people. This strategic positioning reinforces his broader argument that the UK's political system is broken and that his leadership, through the Reform Party, is the necessary antidote. Farage's remarks about the Reform Party and its prospects in the opinion polls further underscore his confidence in an imminent political shift. His repeated refrain of you wait builds anticipation, suggesting that dramatic changes are on the horizon. Farage casts himself and his party as agents of massive historical change, directly challenging the establishment he believes Starmer and Badenoch represent. This rhetoric not only appeals to disillusioned voters, but also serves to amplify his image as a transformative figure, capable of delivering the fundamental change he argues Britain desperately needs. In this interview, Farage effectively combines personal anecdotes, biting critiques of his opponents, and a vision for political change to craft a narrative that positions him as uniquely qualified to lead Britain out of its current challenges. His commentary is not just an attack on Starmer and Badenoch, but a broader indictment of the political establishment, which he portrays as inept and out of touch. By contrasting his own authenticity and relatability with their perceived failures, Farage seeks to solidify his status as a viable alternative for voters seeking change. Whether or not this strategy will resonate with the electorate remains to be seen, but it is clear that Farage is positioning himself as a key player in the political realignment he predicts for Britain. Thank you for watching. If you have any thoughts or opinions, feel free to share them in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more updates, and join us on Telegram for exclusive content and discussions. Your support means a lot.